All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. What a comeback victory. I mean, honestly, Taron and RJ, we did the preview yesterday, and I'm pretty sure I said either 1-1 or 2-1 victory for us. And then once again, this is what happened. But it was it was a crazy match. Like what transpired in the first half, and then obviously, we kind of got away with it in the first half with Aguero's penalty, which we'll talk about. I personally don't think that was a penalty. Nischal thinks it was, but then again, in the second half, I think Zuma's one definitely was a penalty. Probably should have been given, but it wasn't. But then I think we were the much better team in the second half. Much deserved goal. Deserved as in, I think Hakim Ziyech, even when he plays bad, I don't think he played fantastically. He gets a goal. And the clutch, Mr. Clutch, Marcus Alonso comes in, and Timo Werner, yet again, another assist. Keeps on just assisting. But we're going to talk about all of this stuff. First of all, live chat, thank you so much. Declared is already here. Thank you for all the support you guys always give us and all the people that are going to watch down the track. Thank you heaps. As you can see, the panel is buzzing. There's a lot of people here. We've got a newbie, Shane, here. I'll go to Shane. Shane, my man, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. I'm buzzing after that victory. But yeah, thanks for letting me hop on here. Excited to talk to you guys.
Brilliant. Guys, I'm going to try and bring Shane as much as possible from here on in on many different sort of streams. Please do see his socials in the description and help him out with his podcast as well. Taron, my boy, has things.
Yeah, excellent. I think my voice is a bit gone because I went absolutely ballistic after that Alonso goal. But what a crazy game. Absolutely insane. The second half, the difference between the first half and the second half, absolutely insane. I'm so excited to get into this review. And yeah, let's talk about this, guys. What a game.
Absolutely. Joey Gaming, Pep going to be scratching his bald head all day long. Hey, enough with the bald head. You see, RJ's got a bald head as well. Don't give the bald people a hard time. Nischal, my man, has things.
What a game, what a week, and very well. Looking forward to covering it. And just unbelievable, Lyndon. You said you went ballistic. I was just laughing, to be honest. The fact we're winning 92nd minute with a goal, not even an amazing goal, just a very scrappy goal. But Marcus Alonso, how can you complain? First goal in 4 months, only scores important goals. Looking forward to getting into it.
Marcus Alonso only scores important goals. He's not there for the dilly-dally. He's only there for the important ones. RJ, my boy, what's been happening?
Well. In the preview, you might recall correctly, I predicted the 2-1 first, if I'm not mistaken. I'm glad I converted you boys. But I have to say, it's 4:30 here in Sydney. When that goal went in, I jumped up in the air and I wanted to be like Taron, but I've got my family asleep, so I better not wake them up. So I was silent, fist pumping. And I was over the moon, guys. And we're going to get into it, but I have to say, first reactions, and I put my tweet out straight away. Apart from Alonso scoring, I felt we deserved it on the balance of things, and I'm sure you guys will have your views. But yeah, I felt like it wasn't a typical smash and grab type of effort. So yeah, proud, very proud.
Yeah, you know what? I kind of feel like, obviously, as you said, we're going to get deep into this. First of all, Declare, do you guys feel the magic in the air? 100% I feel the magic in the air. But yeah, like we kind of got away with it in the first half. There was a madness, and obviously, hold on. Shane, did you just drop out or something? Shane, are you back now, Shane?
Yeah, my Wi-Fi is a little bit laggy. Hopefully it doesn't happen too many times. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. In the first half, we kind of got away with it right at the end with Aguero missing that penalty. That was crazy. But in the second half, I feel like we were the better team. And yeah, probably 1-1, maybe I would have been happy with it. But the win, wow, I'm just over the moon. Let's get straight into this straight away. First of all, thank you so much to everyone that's joined in. Please smash the like button as it helps out the video. And share as much as you want as well, so we have more people coming in. Let's get some opening statements. We'll start with you, Taron. What do you think about the overall match and just some of your initial reactions?
Yeah, what a huge win for our top four hopes. We needed the win today. Obviously, Tottenham, I believe, got points. Leicester lost 4-2 to Newcastle somehow. And it's a crucial win for our top four. Also to prevent Man City winning the title. It's always an extra bonus onto the win of things. But yeah, a crucial win. Now we just need, I believe, 2 or 1 more wins basically to secure top four. So I think everything's looking really good. This is the one game where I thought, we can allow ourselves to maybe get a loss here, and then we go out against Arsenal, Villa, and Leicester and really pummel them. But we got the win. We're even more secure now, and I say we're basically in the top 4. I'm confirmed for next season. So yeah, my initial thoughts are I'm very, very happy with the win, and the way we played in the second half is a vintage Thomas Tuchel performance. I'd say created quite a lot of chances, played very well, dominated the ball well, nice playing out of the press, but maybe the play, the final finish comes, the final pass was a bit off. But yeah, the result is absolutely crucial for our top 4 hopes, and to get the extra bonus, the mental bonus for the Champions League final. So yeah, great.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, we obviously rotated a lot, and with Leicester losing, Tottenham losing as well. It's not a particular fixture that you'd put down as confirmed 3 points, but boy, oh boy, that 3 points means a lot. Nischal, your initial thoughts?
A huge win of the race with a top 4 now, 3 games to go, and we're in a fantastic position. It was a big ask to beat Manchester City, of course. They're 1 win away from winning the league, and they were favourites at start, having taken the lead, nearly doubled the lead, which proved to be a massive, massive moment in the game where Aguero missed that penalty. But we showed great character, really improved in the second half, picked up, took control of the game. Fantastic goal from Hakim Ziyech, and what about that last-minute winner from Marcus Alonso? We say this, but he doesn't score as often, he doesn't contribute as much, but when he does, he scores in the most important moments, and a fantastic win for us. Thomas Tuchel again getting the best over Pep Guardiola, puts us in perfect position. That's 2 wins from 2 against Guardiola ahead of this month's Champions League final. But the top 4 race is far from over. We've got 3 big games: Aston Villa, Leicester, Arsenal. It is not over. All of them will be difficult. All of them will be big challenges. And while we focus on our games, we've got teams playing around us, and we know that anything other than 9 points out of 9, we risk dropping out of our top 4. So we've got to stay focused. We've got to stay concentrated on the task on hand, because while we can be excited about a Champions League final, an FA Cup final, and a potential top 4 finish, the job is far from over this season.
100%, man. 2 out of 2 so far for Thomas Tuchel, as you said. Hopefully it becomes 3 out of 3 in the Champions League. Many are sort of thinking, can Thomas Tuchel actually get 3 on Pep Guardiola? I really think we can. I really, really think we can. Taha Deb, show us the Ziyech kid. Here you go, my man. Hopefully you guys can see it. Hakim Ziyech, yeah, baby. RJ, my boy, what are your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I felt the first 20, 30 odd minutes of the game was quite underwhelming, in the sense of, we know that the quality and the capability that these 2 sides can bring, but the context was pretty obvious, in the sense that there was some mass rotation going on. There was probably a bit of chess games as well happening in the background, with either manager not wanting to give too much away in terms of the big dance later in the month. But that said, I thought even before the goal that City scored, we were the more likely of the 2 teams to carve out some openings. So I don't think, even though City took the lead and should have got the second goal, which again in that penalty incident is a very big debate for me, I just think overall in the whole 90 minutes, it was a game where, and I've got the stats here in front of me, City had 12 shots versus our 7, but only had 3 on target versus our 5. And I felt it was the quality of chances created that I felt on balance again, that we were deserved winners. And that's not something that we'd ordinarily say against Guardiola. But as you and I said the other day with Taron, Tuchel versus Guardiola is now shaping up to be quite the narrative. And I just hope now that he goes 3 in a row, which would be quite fitting for our shirt sponsors as well. So fingers crossed.
That's right. 3 in a row, 3 for the shirt sponsors. As I said, I truly believe we can do it. Shane, what's your initial thoughts, my man?
Like Nischal was saying, brilliant win, right? And in my opinion, we take the 3 points being run today. It wasn't the prettiest game, but in the second half, I think Reece James was so vital to us getting those 2 goals. You saw his interplay with Hudson-Odoi for that second goal. A beautiful ball, by the way, from Joe to Werner to cut it back in for Alonso's goal. Brilliant interplay down that right-hand side. And that was the theme for Chelsea in the second half. They were going right at Ferland Mendy, who eventually was subbed off at the end of the game, because he looked worn out. He looked old. We know what his strengths are going forward, but defending Mendy just isn't that guy that City needs to going forward. And Reece James was so good, especially after a little bit of rusty first half for the right back. So he comes back into the side, and I think he was a really big performer for a win today. So I want to shout out Reece James real quick. But I think the team in general, we talked about, I know Ms. Ziyech in our preview, and clinical-wise, I think we took our chance a little bit better today, although we'll probably talk about this a little bit later, being offside, but we score some goals. Ziyech was on at the right time, at the right spot, and he puts it in right past Ederson, really low down. We kind of saw the similar goal with this other goal against Burnley a couple of months ago in October, kind of a low bullet to the bottom right-hand corner. But I think Reece James really performed in the second half, and Hudson-Odoi, big up to Hudson-Odoi, because I think he really changed the game in the last 5 or so minutes.
Yeah, and 100% agree. Callum's impact was amazing. Reece James, I tweeted it out in the second half. I think his game, especially targeting Mendy's end, as you said, was vital, and he made Mendy look like an amateur. And his impetus on that right side was massive for us. And yeah, Hakim Ziyech, we're going to talk about him. As you said, he's always in the right space. I don't think entirely he had the best game, but this is the thing about Hakim Ziyech. I've always seen it. It doesn't matter. Even if he has his worst games, he always ends up getting either a goal or a couple of assists, because he's just got that X factor quality, which is unbelievable. So we're definitely going to get into that. Let's just talk a little bit about the lineup. I'm not going to ask every single one of you guys about the lineup, but just talk a little bit about it as we've always structured in this manner. We'll go to you, Taron. Taron, when you saw that lineup, I personally thought, almost the kind of backline that we kind of expected. But obviously, Taron, you wanted Azpilicueta at the back. We got that. I thought it would probably be Christensen on right centre back and Zuma in the middle. And then Billy Gilmore, which was the biggest surprise package for me. I just didn't think that on a big game like this, Billy Gilmore will get that opportunity. But understandable, Kante and Jorginho sort of rotating with each other because they've just been playing so many games. I personally thought Billy Gilmore didn't have a bad game. I thought he had a decent game. Obviously, we're going to talk about the player performances. And up front, look, it was always going to be up in the air, but we pretty much had our Ziyech and Pulisic there. Werner was, the other one that sort of fit into the team, and we were sort of tossing between whether it's Mount or Kai Havertz. Mount wasn't even in the squad. He's been rested. So what do you think about that lineup, Taron?
Well, yeah, I know it's maybe a little bit naive because we know all the great things that Tuchel's done with his lineup selection is always going to spot on. But I was actually very terrified coming into this game with Marcus Alonso coming back in and Billy Gilmore. I know Gilmore's come in and he did very well against Fulham last year against Liverpool. But again, there's a little bit of doubt over if he can perform in such a big game, a game for top 4 at the Etihad with great midfielders on the other side. So I guess Gilmore was a big shock for me, Marcus Alonso as well. I wasn't sure if Chilwell will be dropped. His pace is so important, his recovery pace. And Alonso actually performed quite well today and he got the goal in the end. But another thing that stood out for me was probably Tino Livramento coming back in on the bench over Tino Angelini. I thought he would have been given a run out if we were winning in like the 80th minute. That's actually a big thing. I haven't seen him in the squad. I don't think even under Lampard he was in the squad once. So that's probably a big change for me. Mason Mount and Chilwell obviously were rested for this game. I thought maybe they'd be on the bench, but no, completely rested for the game. Chilwell obviously has been playing back to back for like 3, 4, 5 games, and Mount's played pretty much every single game under Tuchel. Bar Fulham, I believe. Actually, I think he did start against Fulham, but some other game. But yeah, the main thing was the big rotation. I didn't expect this many changes for such a crucial game against such a good opposition. But Tuchel has come out and we've won 2-1 at the Etihad with 5 changes made into our side. So again, I'm not going to judge the lineups as much. I know we always say we're not going to judge them, but I'm sure a lot of fans were a little bit cautious seeing Marcus Alonso back in, Billy Gilmore starting this game, but yeah, we won in the end, so it's okay. But yeah, Mason Mount has deserved rest now, so I think that'll do good for midweek against Arsenal.
Yeah, 100%, man. I'm just going to quickly look at this lineup again. It was an interesting subs as well. Obviously, Livramento is in there. He's the one who's a cheeky one that's been thrown in, which was fantastic. In regards to City, I actually had the City lineup out, but for some reason this one wasn't coming out. Give me 1 second, boys. My computer's just been a bit weird. But yeah, Nischal, the City's lineup, did you find it a bit interesting that they went with the 3 at the back as well? They tried to mimic us. I'm finding it very strange how some of these teams, they try and mimic us, like Real Madrid did as well, but they don't really play this formation. I'm not really sure why they're trying to risk it when we play this formation week in, week out. I mean, did you find that very odd from Man City's point of view?
I did find that very bizarre. Like I said, we saw Real Madrid from Zinedine Zidane in the first leg, and we saw again today almost a 3-4-3 with Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake, and I don't even remember the third one, but very interesting change. The way I see it is if we Laporte, thank you. The way I see it is if we did the same to change our formations to match our opponents, I wouldn't be happy. And it's the thing I say over and over again. If it's not broken, don't fix it. There's a reason Man City are in the FA Cup, the Champions League final, I beg your pardon, and they're about to win the Premier League because they've worked so well with a 4-3-3. So it's very interesting to see them in a crucial game switch to this formation. The team selection wasn't a problem, but go into a back three was very interesting. We've seen other managers try and challenge Tuchel with the same formation, with the same shape, but it never works. You got to stick with what works for you. Same the way, but we're going to stick with our 3-4-3, the same way the Man City are going to stick with their 4-3-3, and so on. So it was a bold move, one which ultimately didn't pay off. At the end of the day, it's not going to have massive implications. Manchester United have to win all 5 games in the final run, and then even then, Man City will only need another win. So it doesn't have much of an effect on the title race apart from when it's decided. But in terms of a tactical decision, it was a very interesting one from Pep Guardiola. And I would be very, very surprised if we saw the same thinking for the Champions League final.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. When I saw that lineup from them, I'm like, wait a second. Just quickly going back to that lineup. I mean, Diaz, Laporte, Ake, and I'm like, and Cancelo and Mendy. And I'm thinking, Pep, you don't play this style. I'm not really sure whether this is going to be, conducive for yourself. I think it kind of plays to our hand that you're not playing your football and we get to play our football against a particular setup that you don't play. So, yeah, Nischal, it's a good point. We'll see whether they do the same thing in the Champions League final, because I would like them to do the same thing, because I think we can definitely get them if they do the same thing. But nonetheless, regardless of what they do, we've beaten them now twice in different formations, different sort of players that have played. So I've got no issues about that. Let's talk about some of the key moments in the particular match. Enough with the lineups. It is what it is. We've always talked about it. I'll go to you first of all, Shane. The first half, there wasn't much going on up until right at the end, probably in the last 10 minutes, where just chaos just started to happen. Christensen, for me, I know a lot of people were saying he looked a bit shaky throughout that match. He kind of did look a bit shaky. But for me, that was the first proper mistake under Thomas Tuchel. I can't really remember any other big mistakes. And he's been known for big mistakes previously last season, even earlier this season against Liverpool, if you guys recall, where he got that red card when he got beat by Mane. But it was very uncharacteristic of him to just lash out like that, and try and stop the ball, when honestly, he probably could have just laid off a little bit and just seen, I think it was, who was it? Gabriel Jesus, I think. He could have just seen Gabriel Jesus off. And also Rudiger, I feel like he was way further up the pitch when maybe the space behind him, he could have been a bit behind. And then obviously the madness with the Aguero penalty. So we had Christensen injured, who we didn't get to replace quick enough. He went off the field and we couldn't bring Zuma. And then, the whole thing about, Billy Gilmore, I personally don't think it's a penalty, but it was given. Nischal, obviously, as I said, has a different view, and I want to hear what you have to say as well, Shane. But Aguero, wow, what was that? A Panenka? Like, are you kidding me? At this time. And Mendy literally went down, and he had enough time to get up and still collect the ball. And I said in my tweet, wow, one thing's for certain, that Mendy is getting better with his penalty technique, and I wasn't kidding about that. But Shane, what do you think about that first half with those two crucial moments?
It was a shame too, because I think we were controlling the first 30 or 25 minutes of that first half. We had chances. We were playing really good down the flanks. We were utilizing Reece James and Marcus Alonso. But you talk about Christensen error. I think maybe some of it's kind of a tiredness, because he has been playing so many games, and you talked about how he hasn't been making a mistake recently, and he's not been making mistakes on the biggest stages. And today, unfortunately, of course, doesn't clear the ball, and City almost messed it all up. Aguero has a terrible touch, and Sterling's luckily there to put it in the goal. But I think Christensen, maybe he's a little bit tired. When Zuma comes in, I was actually thinking of starting Zuma in the middle today, just because I think the fact of Christensen has been playing so many minutes recently. And I know it's easy to say that after the fact, but I think it's really I think it really affected him today. He gets, of course, gets taken off at halftime. Hopefully that hamstring of his is okay going forward, especially. We have a big F Cup final game, big Champions League final. That's down the line. But you mentioned the errors. There was definitely the last 5 minutes very chaotic to follow that team. Of course, there's the penalty. You can debate if it wasn't or not. But I guess I just want to talk about the referees real quick, because not just Anthony Taylor. I mean, there's been so many examples this season of the referees getting the calls wrong, and it's only seems like it's in the Premier League, which is really strange, and it's an embarrassment to the FA, quite frankly, of all these mistakes from the referees. And once again, you see another mistake today. At the end of the game, you can debate that a little bit later on. Would that have been a penalty or not on Zuma? But going back to the Christensen thing, I just think he's been playing a lot of games. I think he's been playing really well. I think he had a decent game until that error, but I think also, like you mentioned, Rudiger just wasn't there, and maybe that's kind of scapegoating him a little bit, but at the same time, I feel like Christensen just got caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I think he's been playing, of course, brilliant for us lately, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the rest for the Arsenal game in midweek.
No, for sure, man. Well said. I want to talk a little bit about the referee situation. I think you make a very, very good point. I'll go to you, RJ. I felt the same sort of feeling as Shane. Look, at the end of the day, it worked out for us. Aguero didn't score, and Zuma's one wasn't given, but I don't think Aguero's one was a penalty, and I want to hear what you have to say about that, because I feel like Gabriel Jesus was sliding into Billy Gilmour. Like, I'm not sure what Billy can do from that position. Like, what can you do? You can't just snap of a finger and just disappear from that position, right? If you're sliding into me and then you're bundling over, well, sorry, I'm not really sure. But then the Zuma one, RJ, I was like, Zuma did try and handle him from the back.
Slightly clumsy, wasn't it? It was like, it was very minor. And the thing is consistency. That's the word I want to highlight, because taking my Chelsea cap off for a minute, we have seen a lack of consistency across the board. And you saw, like in the Arsenal game, where Luiz got the minor touch and it clipped him and old mate fell over and he got sent off. So there are instances where minor contact has deemed a penalty. And the thing with the Gilmour challenge, and I think Michael Owen was talking about it at halftime, is that with Jesus, it looked like the ball went one way, like it went forward, and he's pivoted his body so far away from the ball that he's actually cut off Gilmour's running lane. So that's not a natural sort of motion. And I heard Sean Wright-Phillips counter it. So I thought it's one of those interpretation issues. That one there was a lot more grey, if you will. I thought that the Sterling one in the second half, that seemed, on balance, I would be a bit upset if that happened against us. I'm not going to lie. But you know what?
We'd be screaming. We would be screaming.
Oh, mate,
we'd be screaming.
100%. But let's take the whole refereeing problem a little further. Because even in the first half, one of the key points that I got here was that slide challenge that Sterling did. That was studs up on thing.
Yeah.
He could have easily got red card on review. I'm surprised. Like, and I saw the stills of that. That was high on the leg, studs up. I've seen, again, consistency in other games. That's a red card. So Sterling shouldn't complain too much about things not going his way, because they could have very well been down to 10 men. He wouldn't have scored that goal subsequently before halftime. The whole sequence of events changes from that moment on to our benefit. So that whole Anthony Taylor Chelsea controversy is becoming its own sort of side narrative, which unfortunately is not good for us. But today, thankfully, we're able to steal it in the end from good old Marcus. So happy days.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. And Shane's right, just to resonate his point again. I've seen many other games as well where the refereeing, I'm like, dude, are you serious? That's not a pen, or, that's not a yellow, and so on and so forth. And I'm just like, I don't know. And I'll go to Nischal on this one. Do you feel like, do referees give enough concentration and watch what they're doing, or they're just a bit reliant on VAR, and I feel like VAR is not even doing the right thing anyway. Like, how can VAR look at something in slow motion and see everything and yet end up giving the wrong decision, which is so strange? What do you think is happening at the moment? Because Shane's right. I see this in every game almost now, where the refereeing is a bit of a shambles.
I don't see it as a lack of concentration. I see it as a lack of consistency. like we've spoken, we see these different decisions given from different referees, from Anthony Taylor to Stuart Atwell to Mike Dean. It varies from referee to referee. And the problem is we have a universal set of guidelines for football. It's a really simple game, but we have so many different opinions from different referees to officials to even technology, which is supposed to eliminate all of that and really give us an objective view. There's even objectivity there where we see, lines being drawn and pixelated decisions. So until we have a fair set of consistency, we're not going to get to this position. And it's no surprise, and this is a more general thing on refereeing in this country, but it's no surprise that we don't get any English referees chosen for international tournaments like the Champions League or World Cup or the Euros. That's not surprising anymore. It's very hard to pick out many referees who are constantly consistent, constantly performing at the top level. And we shouldn't be complaining about refereeing every week. Yes, it's hard to please everyone. Yes, it's a difficult job. But when we have a new controversy and a new debate every single game, there is something wrong. And it's a case of different referees seeing different decisions. I think the red card incident where Raheem Sterling went on Timo Werner, that's one that really sticks out to me, because in real time, I didn't see much of a problem with it. I saw him going for the ball and I thought he'd won it. With a replays, it's a clear red card. Like RJ said perfectly.
But Nischal, then what's the duty of VAR? Like, as you said, in real time, we probably can't see it, but then in replays, it was clear. So doesn't VAR come back to it, or they don't intervene?
It should, because one of the points of VAR, of the four decisions they look at, are potential red cards. So VAR would have looked at that, but the case would have been that the VAR didn't see it as a red card, which in my opinion is absurd, because that was a clear red card. It was reckless, it was dangerous, and I was having a debate as to why it was a red card. One of the reasons you can say is that Werner was off the ground, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a reckless challenge. Studs were up, he was off the ground, he was going in with force, and we saw how high up he was in the body. So those sort of decisions are just an epitome of what we see week in, week out. And until we get a real level of consistency across the board, across the rules, and across all officials, we're going to be having this debate for years to come.
No, 100% agree. RJ has just been providing some really, really good quotes from the coaches. I just want to read out one of them, then I'll touch the other one. First of all, 160 people live right now. Smash the like button. Get it to at least 100 likes. Helps out the video a lot. Helps out the channel a lot. So smash the like button if you're enjoying this review. And obviously the panelists, all of their socials are in the description. Go out there and follow each and every one of them. Pep Guardiola was interviewed by Sky, and he said, we played really good. We missed our chance in the last minute of the first half with the penalty, and we were playing better. It was Aguero's decision to Panenka the penalty. He decided to do this his way. Nothing to add. We were really good, but at the end of the day, they scored. As for Zuma Sterling incident, it's a penalty. It's a penalty. That's all. It's a penalty. That's all. That's football. It's happened. Try the next time to score our penalty, in my opinion. Yeah, look, I can understand why he would be upset with that situation with Zuma and Sterling. But at the end of the day, I think the second half, I personally think we owned it. And I want to ask Taron, second half, man, we came out of the blocks. As all you boys have been sort of mentioning, RJ has been phenomenal. Reece James is just a monster on the right side. And that build-up, which obviously, let's talk a little bit. Let's just bring this up. We like doing this. I think the situation, what was going on, was something like this, where there was just chaos everywhere. It was something like that. RJ, but I think it was a ball from Azpilicueta, right, guys? Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone? Taron?
I think it was. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to make a comment because I'm not 100%, but I'm like.
I think it was Azpilicueta. I think it was Azpilicueta that squared the ball. But there was good movement, obviously, from RJ as well. He squares the ball from this angle, and then Ziyech finds himself in that sort of central position.
Yeah, it was.
And shoots off that shot, and that was such a sexy finish. Honestly, that was so good to see. Just on that, Taron. That was a good way to come back into the match, and kind of good reward for that intensity in the second half, wasn't it?
Yeah, we deserved that. And for my opinion, it was a crucial time to get that goal. We needed it. I was scared. Was it going to come in the 70th minute? We definitely needed a goal in that game to kind of get back into it. But yeah, 63rd minute, perfect timing. Allowed us time to bring on subs to try and push for that late goal. And yeah, it was a really great finish by Ziyech. I can't lie. I would think we'll get into Ziyech a little bit later. But before that, I think Ziyech was really off the pace. He wasn't getting into the game. He looked really frustrated. Maybe that. I think he was a bit frustrated in being in the left inverted position. It's not really perfect for him. He likes to be on the right. Yeah, that goal, this is the reason we signed Ziyech for Ajax, for all that money. We bought him in because he has these moments of quality in him where he can just alter the game just like that. I know there was a quote from Edwin van der Sar or Nine or something like that, was said, Ziyech will have 5 bad shots a game, but with that one chance where he'll hit an amazing on-the-money shot into the goal. And that happened today. What a finish. I don't know how many players in our team will score that kind of goal, but perfect timing, a great execution of the volley, and
first time hit as well, wasn't it? First time hit, like he didn't take a touch, like he just hit it.
I'm pretty sure he took a touch and then he smashed it. I don't think he hit it first time, but I'm sure the panel will come back to me on that. But it was a great finish. I think, we needed that goal. We started off in the second half amazingly well. We needed that. We got let off the hook by that awful penalty by Aguero, and we started off the second half. Gilmour decided to come into the game a little bit more, started to ask for passes to feet. Rodri, I feel like, didn't man-mark him as much in the second half. And that allowed us time. Pep Guardiola, I'm sure his team must have been a little bit frustrated that they didn't get the second goal. And that allowed us to, capitalise on their frustration, capitalise on the mistake of Aguero. And, we pushed for the goal, well-deserved goal, allowed us to score that late goal as well. And, what a finish by Ziyech. I've already mentioned Azpilicueta. That's the thing that I feel like when Christensen's playing on the right centre-back, he doesn't make them overlapping runs as much as we saw Azpilicueta today. He made that run beyond Reece James and a great cut back into Hakim Ziyech. But in terms of the timing of the goal, I felt like it really allowed us to kind of push on to win the game. And that was crucial, in my opinion.
100%. Perfect timing to get that equaliser. As you said, Taron just gave us that impetus to ensure that we could get that win. Dita, thank you so much for the super chat, my man. Always supporting the channel. Would using the same team of referees plus VAR team solve this problem? I'm not quite sure what that means.
From a consistency point of view, I think.
Does he mean using the same?
Would he use it across the same games? I think he means.
Yeah.
So, as in the same team across all the games?
No. What he means, he means like have a same set of referees put together, like set one is like Stuart Atwell and certain assistants, put with the same combination of VAR referees.
That's a good.
I think it would work.
Yeah,
I think it would work personally.
Then you'd create a good chemistry, just like a team.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You would have amazing chemistry in that sense. Shane's really struggling with his Wi-Fi. I've got like 10,000 of his screens coming up over here. But Shane, I'll go to you this time. In the second half, obviously, we got that equalizer with Hakim Ziyech, as we said in this particular diagram here. Ziyech taking a shot from this sort of position, gets that goal. And then that sort of gave us the impetus for the second goal, which was later on in the right at the end. We just snatched it. I think I'm pretty sure it was something like this. It's all a blur to me at the moment. It just happened so quickly. Give me 1 second. I think Alonso was flying up over here. Then you had Hudson-Odoi sort of somewhere over here. Let's just put Callum's name. And it was RJ that put in that cross, wasn't it?
For the second goal?
For the second goal, was it?
Oh, no, that was Werner, wasn't it, for the second goal?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was Timo Werner. Yeah, Timo Werner. I'm trying to steal his assist. Yeah. I'm trying to steal his assist, man. I think RJ did a really good play and then put Werner.
I think it was Hudson-Odoi, wasn't it?
Hudson-Odoi.
It was close. Yeah, it was.
Wasn't Hudson-Odoi in the box?
No, Hudson-Odoi made the pass to Werner.
No, it was Alonso. It was Alonso and Hudson-Odoi because they crossed over when they tried to shoot.
Oh, really?
But Alonso got the
Yeah. Or unless Cho started the move.
Anyway, no one knows what happened.
Yeah. Bottom line, Timo Werner was in this position and he put the ball through and Alonso comes in and just scuffs a shot. It wasn't the cleanest hit, but still it was good enough to get that victory, the winner and the victory. Shane, do you feel that was well deserved? Like we probably in the second half looked a better team as opposed to Man City?
Yeah, I think it was all about control and possession. I think Jorginho really helped that coming on. I think it was, the 70th minute. So I think he really slowed the game down nicely, played out to Reece James. I think Reece James went down the flank, gave it to Cal, gave it back to Werner. And then Alonso, of course, was interchanging with Cullum in the box for the goal. And like I think Nischal said, I think that's Alonso's first goal since that Burnley game when he played under Thomas Tuchel and got a goal in his first start in a long time. So it seems like he scores these goals really late on games. And I mean, I'll take it, right? Even though it was Cullum's interplay, and Werner once again gets another great assist. So I think it's great for the team overall. And once again, Ben Chilwell, although he's playing really well, now he's going to have another thing to think about, right? Competition-wise going forward. So I think it's great for the dressing room as well, because it gives that competition for Ben Chilwell to say, you know what, I was sitting at my house today, but I got to get right back on that training pitch tomorrow, because Alonso had a pretty nice game today. I think that goal will give him hopefully a lot of confidence too going forward.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. I mean, look, this is the great part about this team at the moment, where you can just call on anyone and they come in and they do a good job. And this is what's been happening. Let's get straight into the player performances, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is where we're going to get a lot of the sort of main conversations. I'll go to you, Taron. Start from the top. Let's talk about Timo Werner. I thought, once again, powerhouse performance. He just keeps on, performing well, game in, game out. And I feel like he's in top form at the moment. Gets himself another key assist, winning assist. But he did look like he was tired by the end of it. I hope he gets a bit of a rest in the upcoming game against Arsenal. I know we still need to take Arsenal game very seriously. We need to win that. But for me, once again, a fantastic performance. Got into a couple of offside positions, but there was, I think in the first half, there was an offside chance where Reece James put in a cross, and that finish was still phenomenal, man. We don't really associate Timo Werner with his finishing, but for me, that finish was fantastic. What do you think about his performance overall?
Yeah, the quotes by Tuchel per perfectly. He ran like a dog today, and whether you can take that as a good thing or a bad thing, I'll put like a greyhound, a dog who will run the whole of the park, just keep sprinting the whole game. And yeah, his pressing is always spot on in the game. I felt like with Mason Mount out of the team today, we needed the other players step up off the ball. Tuchel always mentions if we're not up to mark off the ball, it's going to affect us. Man City very good on the ball. Timo Werner was closing down the passing lanes in the middle, and I felt like when we were off the ball, Timo Werner was dropping into the central areas, trying to guard Rodri, trying to guard other players from building through the middle, which City like to do. Werner did that very well. But yeah, the offside decisions from Timo Werner today, there was too many in my opinion. It got quite frustrating in the end. He just hold back. You have the pace to do Laporte, you have the pace to do Diaz. Just hold back a few centimeters, and I feel like he could have had 2 or 3 1-on-1s today. But yeah, Timo Werner's hold up play, he's always getting stuck in now, whether that's Laporte, Diaz, Sergio Ramos. Any defender, he's going physical with them one-on-one, trying to win headers, physical, trying to win the ball, trying to link up the play. He does that very well. But yeah, it did look like a little bit of fatigue from the Real Madrid game today, unfortunately, with Werner. I'm going to bring it to that. Maybe not holding up the play against Real Madrid. He was getting battered by Ramos. He was getting battered by everyone. And there was a lot of fouls today, I thought, from Laporte, where maybe he was getting a good tackle, but he kept standing on Werner's foot over and over again. And a few of the dives are a bit theatrical. But yeah, some of them were a bit nasty from Laporte. I felt like, Werner does look like he's over-exaggerating a lot. But when it comes back to the replay, you kind of see that, he actually did go through his foot, and it was probably a foul. But yeah, Werner today, I felt like he could have got a few goals if he would have stayed on side. But off the ball again, spot on. Seriously, there's a reason this guy starts every week. And I know I sound like a fanboy again, but Thomas Tuchel plays him in the big games. Real Madrid, Man City, he didn't even rest him for these games. He knows how crucial he is off the ball, close down the passing lanes, pressing, stopping these teams from playing out from the back as effectively as they would if it was a different player. And yeah, I'm sure the other players are probably wondering, why am I not starting? Because of Werner, he's not getting a lot of goals, not getting a lot of assists. Maybe he's losing the ball, but Thomas Tuchel sees a star in Timo Werner. I'm telling you now, he sees an off the ball star. Now it's just about whether he can get the finishing, get on side with some of these chances, because that high line was perfect for Werner. This is the games where Werner is born to play and where there's space to run into. He's maybe not the best playing against a low block, even though he scored against West Ham. He's best when he's run into the space and high lines. And fortunately, today it didn't come off. But I know a lot of fans are watching and seeing Timo Werner slowly. He's coming into his element now. And I know it's a bit late in the season, but I'm seeing every week that he looks up for it. He's still fighting for the balls. He's getting into battles, and it's just beautiful to see it them in there. I'm just waiting for the lethal goal scorer to come out on him, because we all know it's there. It's like a ghost in him. It doesn't want to come out yet. It's waiting, and then maybe a game we scores a hat trick soon, hopefully. But yeah, I'm gonna have that Werner shirt soon, and he's gonna score a hat trick.
I hope he gets that. Hope he gets a hat-trick in the Champions League final, man, wins it for us. But you're right, man, this goal contribution is just getting bigger and bigger almost every game. And it's going to start looking ridiculous by the end of the season, how his stats are going to look. And people are going to start thinking, Yeah, people are going to start thinking otherwise. A flop, apparently a flop, Timo Werner. But, we've said it, man. This guy's providing some unbelievable stuff. Nischal, Christian Pulisic. For me, look, I got a lot of stick for tweeting this out, but I just need to make people understand. First of all, Twitter is just a crazy platform, man. You just can't write anything and people just go nuts. Like they just want to fight in Twitter. I don't really understand why. All I said was Pulisic post-match against Real Madrid said that he was frustrated, that he's not getting enough starting chances. He gets a start, and I feel like it wasn't his typical great performance. Like, he was good. Obviously, he always looks good on the ball, but I just felt like at times he was just easily giving the ball away, or he was just dribbling into people. There wasn't enough decisiveness from my perspective. I don't know whether I'm wrong or not. And I want to hear from you, Nischal. What do you think about Pulisic's performance in that match?
I was actually quite impressed by Christian Pulisic's performance tonight. And if we go back to the ESPN comments quickly, I feel like they were taken out of context. We saw them, and of course he's going to be frustrated, but I feel like the moment it was kind of shared was a bit like, well, of course he's going to be frustrated, he's not played. But I'd assume very late on, or probably in the same interview, he said, but I'm happy for the team. So it would have been good to see that, but hey, that's a quote. But I was happy with Pulisic today. I think he put in a really good performance. I enjoyed seeing him drive forward. His good dribbles, he's very confident taking on the attack. And especially when we look at that front three across the game, Timo Werner had his moments. He could have scored, but he was offside a number of times. Hakim Ziyech was pretty underwhelming in the first half before he scored. And while Christian Pulisic wasn't outstanding, I feel like he was the most consistent of a front three throughout the 90 minutes, which, again, is debatable. It depends which way you look at it. But throughout the game, I felt like he was the one who had the most energy, was making the most runs forward, most attempted dribbles, and really trying to push the attack on. But I was happy with what I saw from him today. He's been really good recently. It's almost like the end of the season, he just gets that different feeling. We saw it last season, we saw it this season. But the question is, can he continue this over a consistent basis? In today's game, we saw consistency across the 90 minutes. But one of the big problems for Pulisic, especially this season, is that he hasn't maintained this across the season. Earlier this season, especially under Frank Lampard, he wasn't good enough. And I'll say that frankly. So hopefully this is the start where he manages to continue this over a long period of time, over the season. Not forgetting, but he's still very young. He's still 22 years old. But it was an impressive performance for me from Christian Pulisic tonight.
No, fair enough. And this is what I like. I'm probably looking at it in a different way, and I'm sort of thinking this is what I want from someone like Pulisic, and you're thinking from a different point of view as well. And that's perfect, man. This is exactly what, we're not going to see football in the same way. We all have different perspectives, and that's the beauty about this game. And it's crazy in Twitter. You just can't say what you feel because people just jump on you and they start abusing and putting clown pictures on you. It's just crazy, man. But yeah, interesting, the two different angles of Pulisic. RJ, Hakim Ziyech. Hakim Ziyech, I think, first half, there was a lot of times where, passes were going astray. But this is the thing about Hakim Ziyech, even his shots straight to the keeper. Hakim Ziyech has mentioned it many times, like, I'm always going to try for those Hollywood passes. I'm always going to take the opportunity to take a shot. And it could always make it sort of seem like that he's not having a good game. But the thing about Hakim Ziyech is always has that sort of goal in him, or that crazy pass, which ends up being an assist. How do you sort of sum up Hakim Ziyech's performance in that match? For me, the second half was much better, obviously, before he got substituted.
Yeah, I think for me, the important thing about when you look at a player like Hakim Ziyech is you got to appreciate why we brought him in the first place. We brought him in because he's seen to be a game changer, an X-factor player, and inherently that means someone that takes riskier passes, has a higher probability of less completed percentage of passes, but when they pay off big time. So it's one of those high risk, high return sort of prospects with him. I think the thing that gets frustration with the fans is that sometimes when we're playing a game where the tactics are very straightforward in terms of very short, sharp, crisp sort of passing that are based on a very simple methodology, when you get someone that has a unique profile like him that wants to go outside that mold a little bit and try to affect the game and really try to be that point of difference, it can be frustrating when you've got someone that's so efficient like a Jorginho, Azpilicueta, when they're getting 85, 90, 95% passing accuracy, but it's very scarce that they're going to put that key through ball that's going to make the difference. And with Ziyech, though, his first half, I will admit, there were some instances where I thought, oh, geez, I think there was one touch in particular very early on where I thought, okay, they've played him in between the lines here. He's in an advanced central sort of position, and his touch just spiked the ball up in the middle of the air. I'm like, what's going on here? But then there's another one on the byline. He released Werner through. You might saw he just released him right on the edge, and he was on goal. But like Taron said, he wasn't that confident in his touch. He sort of, he half baked it a bit, and it didn't quite pay off. But then in the second half, he really Tuchel must have told him, just sort of reset, recharge, don't let the first half get to you.
One thing, RJ, Mahrez, because I'm looking at some of the comments here and they're talking about Mahrez. Ziyech in the second half was playing more central as opposed to in the first half where he was playing on the left side. I feel like it should have been the other way around, where Pulisic should have played on the left side and Ziyech on the right side. It just allows for far better, skill set for both the players. I feel as soon as Ziyech came in the middle in the second half, the game really changed for him. Do you feel the same way as well?
Yeah, I do. And I think that also brought the added benefit of having people like Reece James really dominate that right-hand flank and give Mendy all sorts of nightmares and headaches. But you're right, as soon as he popped into that middle area, and same with Pulisic, I thought his second half was much improved as well. And I thought he was taking on a lot more, getting a few fouls or actually trying to positively affect the game. But overall, Ziyech, he grew into the game. He scored that lovely goal, which, is part of the reason why we brought him in, because he's been quite clutch in the big games. So I think despite him not being the standout player, he actually had quite a telling impact on the overall result. So as far as it goes for him now to the end of the season, I'm not sure if I'm satisfied with that being his general flow, being telling impact, but overall not sensational. But at the same time, at least he's not playing good and not actually having a big impact. So at least he's having the big impact despite not playing sensationally. So I'll leave it at that.
No, 100% agreed, man. 100% agreed. Shane, let's talk about the double sixes. I like to talk about them as a group. Billy Gilmour, for me, had a decent enough game. Look, I don't think, he's ready yet to take over Jorginho's spot. Obviously, Jorginho and Kante, until obviously Kovacic comes back in, then obviously the situation kind of changes as well, because he'll deserve some game time. But Jorginho, for me, he's done a very good job in this particular match. His passing, his ability to, track players and tackling as well. He was there for the challenges, interceptions. He was there. I thought he had a very decent game. And Kante always has a very, very good game. And it was rightly so that he was substituted off to bring Jorginho in. What do you think about those double sixes, especially Billy Gilmour?
Yeah, I think Billy Gilmour's performance would probably be overshadowed by that quote-unquote penalty committed, right? But I think other than that, he had a decently good game, like you mentioned, Miz. And I think the thing that I love about Billy Gilmour so much is he plays really freely with the ball. Sure, he makes some mistakes in the midfield against more physical opponents, but at the same time, he plays those long balls over to the right side or to the left side that really propel our offense forward. I think he did some of that today. There was an example of him. And also the thing I like about Billy Gilmour is he tracks really back deep on defense and he makes the tackles in key spots. So while he might not be the most physical player, he makes some really important tackles at points, and he also kind of propels the offense forward. I like Billy Gilmour next to N'Golo Kante more than I like him next to Jorginho, because I think their play styles are kind of a little bit similar. But once again, I think Billy Gilmour, the call that Thomas Tuchel made today, the trust that he put in him, was really kind of surprised me that he selected him in start 11, but that just shows you how much trust he has in the 19-year-old. And I think the only way for Billy Gilmour is up from here. And once again, once he gets a little bit more physical, I think he'll be a transcendent player for this team, because he's doing so many other things really well. I think just getting more weight on himself, get a little bit bigger. He's not going to grow too much height-wise, but if he gets a little bit more stronger inside the box. But like you mentioned, I think he had a decently good game, and unfortunately, that penalty committed might overshadow one pretty good game from Billy Gilmour, and he played the full 90 minutes. So big up to Billy Gilmour.
Yeah, man, 100% agree. Deep State over here stating today was one of Gilmour's best performance. Obviously, last season he had some glamorous performance, but today for this season, I think that was one of his really, really good performances, I would have to say. And yeah, as we've already touched on, Kante and Jorginho, they're obviously the experienced members of this squad, and they're always very, very good. Nischal, I'll go to you this time, and obviously after this, I'll let you go. You've got to run. Let's talk a little bit about the wingbacks, Alonso and Reece James. Alonso, look, I mean, I don't think he had a bad game. I think defensively he was quite solid. He was always there, tracking back and doing the right thing. In set pieces, he was always crucial as well with his height. And he showed a lot of energy, and obviously the clutch goal right at the end always shows the desire to get into the box. This is the thing about Alonso, and I want to see a lot more from Chilwell, like to get into the box more often, because I feel like Chilwell can score a lot more goals for us if we play with this wing-back situation. And Reece James, for me, was a monster, especially in the second half. The way he was attacking Mendy, his pace. A lot of people laugh that he doesn't have enough pace. I think he showed today that there is plenty of pace available in those legs. Obviously, the physicality is always there. How'd you see both the wing-backs and their performances?
I'll start with Alonso because, like many people, I was a bit surprised to see him on the team sheet. Then again, Ben Chilwell did need a rest, but of all the players to rest, did he need one? We don't know. That's not what we've seen, and it's a good rest for him, a good moment to have some time and really relax. But Marcos Alonso was very good today. I think it was a good performance in the sense that he didn't do anything wrong, because we have to be honest and very cynical. Most cases, it may be a mistake defensively or going forward. But today, there was nothing really wrong. And especially coming up against a very strong attacking team like Manchester City, Alonso was solid defensively, always good going forward, really linking up nicely with Christian Pulisic on the left flank. And he had put a great performance. And we see those late runs very often into a box. He's eager to score. It wasn't the best finish, but to be in that position and to get that goal, massive, absolutely massive for us. So you cannot ask for anything more. But the more impressive wing back, while Marcos Alonso was the match winner, Reece James, absolute beast performance today. We saw it time after time after time. The way he dominates the players, the way he dominates that flank. And the pace argument is an interesting one because he's a quick, I mean, if you want to be a wing back, you have to be quick anyway. So I don't know where that rhetoric is coming from. But he was excellent today. His crosses especially, we see it time after time, and he put in must have been about 10 chances created.
There was one where Werner just missed out by an inch.
Just missed, and if you see how he crossed it as well, just absolutely beautiful. He is one of the best crossers in the team, if not the league. It's really encouraging to see that we have that sort of creativity, because we have spoken about the lack of goals on occasions while we look at the lack of cutting edge in most cases. Sometimes we've said, well, do we have that creativity? Are we having those chances created? When we have Reece James on the pitch, absolutely we do. And today was a prime example of what he can do going forward, playing a great performance. Of course, Hudson-Odoi as well. He hasn't had the chances much recently, but he came off the bench and was really, really encouraging on that kind of wing back, right wing role. So, brilliant performance from both wing backs, really encouraging. We do have to look at who do we want to start in these next few games, especially for the finals. We're blessed with options. We can start Alonso, we can start James, but of course we've got Chilwell, who's been in fantastic form under Tuchel. We've got Hudson-Odoi, who, when given a chance, has been in brilliant form. So we have these options and we have this flexibility. Even Azpilicueta has come in and really put in a good shift when he plays a wing back. So of course we'll go one game at a time. We've got 5 cup finals pretty much with all of these big games to play, but there's so many team selection choices to make across the pitch. But that just shows you how good our squad depth is, how many options we have, and what a great position you're in. I'm going to be leaving early today, but if you enjoyed what you heard, you can find all of my work on nishalsblog.com, articles, videos, podcasts, and you can also follow me on Twitter at @Nischal_SP. But thank you very much for today, and I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Nischal. Thank you. Yeah, no, Nishal's absolutely right. We are so blessed at the moment that so many of our players are in top form. Alonso comes in, scores the winner. Reece James doesn't get that many opportunity in recent times, hasn't been. He's sort of been coming off the bench, but he comes in and starts and, barnstorming effort again. I'll go to you, Taron. Now, let's talk about the back three. Yeah, obviously with Thiago Silva, he was always going to get rested. I must say, though, it did look a bit shaky. For the first time, I feel like under Thomas Tuchel, it looked a bit shaky, that back three. But then again, we had a less day to prepare. Man City had an extra day to prepare. I think we need to understand the human element as well, right, Taron? That these players that are playing so many games week in, week out, literally 3 games every week since for the past good 2 to 3 months. Let's talk a little bit about Andres Christensen, that injury. Do you think that might have an impact to us moving with the remaining matches? Obviously, he was sort of pivotal for us in the back, but then Thiago Silva is a particular player that can't seem to play, 3 matches in a row. Do you know what I mean? Like he'll play maybe 2 and then needs a rest. And we've got some big matches coming up, the FA Cup final, Champions League final. We definitely want Thiago Silva in the middle for those particular matches. I haven't seen any injury updates here, but do you think that could be a bit crucial? Because he was one player that was in form as well.
I think it looked like a hamstring injury, which can never be good. It's a muscle injury. It can be a tear, it can be a pull, it can be anything like that. And that could be a month out, it can be 2 weeks. We don't know quite the extent yet. I think Tuchel was quite unaware in his press conference what the kind of extent was. But what I will say is AC has looked very, very good in the right centre-back role, and he provides us a new option there. He's very good in the air. He's good at reading the game in the right centre-back role. He's become more physical now, I'd say. So I will say that's a big option we've missed down the right, but let me tell you, I'm not at least worried that we have Azpilicueta there to deputise in that role. I think he can play that role just as good as Christensen, maybe a different kind of set of attributes, but he can still do it well. I think it's quite promising that Zuma came in today, and that block tackle before the kind of penalty incident, I'll get into that in a second, that block tackle perfectly, that was a Zuma-esque that we've seen in the 15-16
Just as good as scoring a goal, man. Just as good as scoring
it's a goal saving. Sterling probably would have scored that. That's Sterling's prime position on the right to kind of cut across the keeper, and Zuma perfectly didn't even go out for a
Shades of Benteke.
Yeah, exactly. Benteke, Crystal Palace last season, 3-2. Yeah. But yeah, that was a wonderful tackle. I think the penalty incident, I think a lot of people were saying it was a red card and a penalty. And I agree it was a penalty. We've seen David Luiz against Willian Jose. I think it was quite similar to that. He barely touched him, was given as a red card. But I don't think that was actually a red card tackle. I think it was too close to the byline. I think a defender probably would have covered. So yeah, it probably would have been yellow. And I think it is a blatant penalty. So again, we come back to the inconsistencies. But back to Andreas Christensen, yeah. That would probably be a big loss. I think he looked really shaky today in the game. I think Shane mentioned it earlier. A bit of fatigue. Yeah. And the thing I realised I was quite different about today is I haven't realised under Tuchel that it's been 1-on-1 with the defender and attacker. There's always someone to cover. But it was always Jesus v Christensen, Aguero v Christensen, 1-on-1 trying to defend, whether it's balls in behind, whether it's, a 1-on-1 trying to chest to bring the ball to the feet. Christensen was quite exposed to that, I'd say, in that. And I think that's a lot of trust being put on by Tuchel to kind of say, you're the guy stopping Jesus from scoring. That goal where obviously Sterling scored, Christensen was left in a 1-on-1 position with Jesus, no room for error at all, and he let the ball bounce over him, unfortunately. And it brought me back to the Aston Villa incident against Jack Grealish, where he lost the ball to Jack Grealish and ended up in the goal. He went down for an injury, and at the time I was kind of thinking he was maybe milking it for a foul, so it didn't come back, and maybe VAR would overturn it, but it turned out to be more serious. There's nothing you can do about that. But yeah, the back three today, Zuma, again, like I said, was very promising when he came into the centre. We've said against Atletico he was very good when he came in. Maybe not Southampton, but he can play that role quite well. Still, I felt like we played a really, really high line today, similar to how Liverpool Man City played against us. It left a lot of room. And I feel like you need a player like Zuma. Christensen, yes, he's very good at reading the game, but does he have the recovery pace of Zuma? No. So when Zuma came in, yes, still balls in behind, but maybe less threat to kind of do that. That led to the penalty. But yeah, Christensen's going to be a big loss, 100% to have in the centre-back role, right centre-back, play on the left probably, put him in midfield, he could do a job. But Zuma will do perfectly well, I'm sure. But yeah, in a crucial run in the season, we needed Christensen. Fingers crossed he's not seriously injured. But, I beg he's not injured. And Thomas Tuchel will make the right decisions with Silva, Zuma, Azpi. We have Rudiger in there. We have, I don't even know, Gilmore. No, I'm just joking. But we have enough defenders to kind of drop in there at the minute. And yeah, but that is a big loss. I think we can all agree on that.
No, for sure. I'm just glad that even with our shaky defense, we got away with a win. That's the crazy part, what this team is doing. I mean, we stopped City from winning the league at their home ground, and we actually beat them, which is fantastic, even with our defense probably not at our best. So can you imagine when we go back to being our best? And this is the thing, the mentality. Even when you're not at your best, you got to win. Aj, I'll go to you and talk about Azpilicueta. You got some quotes that you want to share. Talk us through, because his performance was immaculate as well against Sterling, the way he defended a few times over there, but just overall as well. His leadership. We kind of talked about this yesterday in the preview that I don't think it's wise to have both Azpi and Thiago Silva not in the team. One always needs to be there. I'm glad that Azpi was there. But what do you think about his performance?
Yeah, true captain's knock first up. And I felt overall he was up for the battle. He was one of the players where He just demands that relentless consistency. And as we spoke about during the preview, Tuchel was highly complimentary of him based on the question that came his way about the influence of Cesar Azpilicueta on the squad. And basically his comments are to that effect of that he's just continuously demands perfection. He doesn't know any sort of limits, and he sort of leaves it all out there on the pitch. He leaves his heart on the pitch. And again, today, you just saw individual duels. He's continuously hassling and really getting in the face of Sterling, which I loved. And I thought, as a side note, I was a little bit filthy that Sterling was a little bit of a non-sportsmanlike conduct when he tried to pick him up and he tried to claim that he hit him in the face.
That was dirty. That was dirty.
Poor professionalism, isn't it? It's very unprofessional, but not surprising, I've got to say. That's the one thing about Sterling, which I know I'll digress, but just in terms of the stats of Azpi, per squawker, 100% passing accuracy in opposition half, 100% aerials won, and he's not the tallest in the world, so that's a factor. 97 touches, the most, 73 passes completed, the most, 9 duels won, the most, 5 tackles, the most, 3 clearances, the most, 3 aerials won, the most, 2 interceptions, the most, and 1 assist.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
Powerhouse.
So, yeah, he was actually low-key so important to why our defence was functional today, because we saw some moments of nerves from AC and with that Rudiger goal, just quickly, because I heard Nischal and the team talking about it before. Personally, what I thought when we looked at it, the highlights, AC, yes, he does get too tight to Jesus, no doubt about it, and overextends his hamstring, and now touch wood, it's not too bad. But Rudiger's the one, like you said, Miz, vacates his position, creates the space. But I wonder if Rudiger's thinking, because Gilmour didn't come in enough, and therefore Rudiger had to come out of position, which creates the domino effect. So I wonder if that was playing in his mind. So that's probably a bit of a trust thing, not working with Gilmour and knowing whether or not he was going to close it down in time. But it's just one of those things. In terms of Christensen, though, I am concerned, given what the run of games we do have. I do trust Zuma, though, because I think overall he's not rocks and diamonds, but he doesn't have the exact same attributes Christensen has. But I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if Azpi does shift back in that position, or if we get another wild card option and we might see the real RJ, the tank, even get a spot in the RCB position just to really shake things up, because I know he's someone that he hasn't been tested there, but he's a natural right back by trade, and it wouldn't be out of this world if he does get a shot. So we'll just have to see what Tuchel's got up his sleeve for that.
Yeah, and it's very interesting what you said, RJ, why some players sometimes get dragged out because they might have seen another player of their team, get not being in the position, so they sort of feel like, I need to protect that area. And then before you know it, you compensate, overcompensate, and then you get all this space behind. So it's a very interesting point. We don't always think about this. I'll just quickly talk about Zuma and Mendy before we talk about the win and Thomas Tuchel and where we are and whatnot. For me, Zuma, look, this is the thing about Zuma. He has that epic slide tackle, which saves us a goal, but then he also has that craziness where I feel like that should have been a penalty against Sterling. And this is the thing about Zuma. You get the good with the bad. And right now, if we were to look at all the CBs that we have, he's probably the lowest one in the pecking order because it's the back three. Maybe if it's back two, he probably comes back higher in the pecking order because it's a different setup. But hopefully Zuma looks like with Christensen probably being injured, don't know how long he's going to get injured, he's going to stay away from. We're obviously going to find out a lot more about it throughout the next 24 hours, 48 hours. But Zuma probably will get some game time, and I hope that he just stays level-headed because we need him to be, watertight the way we have been in defense. And Mendy, to be honest, guys, I don't think he had too much to do besides collecting, as Taron will say, besides collecting the ball from the back when we considered that goal from that Christensen and Rudiger, all that kind of combined issues. And the penalty, look, I don't think he had to do much. It was hit so lightly that, as I said, he literally went down on one knee and still had the time to get up and collect it with his left hand. So, that just shows how weak that shot was. I think the idea was probably okay from Aguero, but the execution, I don't think, was right at all. And then Mendy had the chance. But then again, throughout the match, he was commanding enough through set pieces and whatnot. Just quickly, Hudson-Odoi as well. I'll go to you, Shane. Hudson-Odoi off the bench was phenomenal for me. I think he hasn't been getting enough time, but that impact, I think something Thomas Tuchel will really enjoy seeing that, don't you think?
Yeah, and it was disappointing to see because he actually, another goal for Chelsea scored today that he was just unfortunately offsides. He has really good movement in those tight spaces. I think he gets to the right area when we're inside the box. And he was coming off from the right wing back side today. And he was really affecting the game. And that's really why at the end, Pep finally pulled the plug on Mendy, because I was surprised just how much time Mendy got because he was playing so terrible against the likes of Reece James and the likes of Hudson-Odoi on that right-hand side. But Hudson-Odoi comes on again. It's good to see him right, too, because he hasn't been able to get those minutes under Thomas Tuchel over the past week just because of those big-time games in the Champions League. I'm not sure if Thomas Tuchel trusts him on that stage quite yet. But in a game that you need an impact, attacking wise, he's the guy to look forward to coming off the bench because he offers that same kind of quickness that Christian Pulisic does coming off, and his dribbling is just so good. And he affected that last goal with a great pass. I think it was a nice little flick on to Timo Werner, who eventually got the assist to Ziyech Alonso. But I think Hudson-Odoi, he might look at this Arsenal game for a really good place for him to start because I think he came off the bench today, played pretty well, and we've talked a lot about people playing a lot of minutes recently, and Christian Pulisic's been playing a lot of minutes, especially Timo Werner. So I think Hudson-Odoi kind of put his case out there to start that night against Arsenal because it is a pretty big game still. And I think that Hudson-Odoi can really make some impact because we know just how bad those fullbacks are from Arsenal. So I think that Hudson-Odoi went out there today. He didn't get too much game time in that 15-minute span, but he made his mark on the game, which is something that he does so well. And I think Thomas Tuchel, once again, put him off the bench. And hopefully he can start in that Arsenal game because he just hasn't been able to get those minutes, but he does really make an impact coming off the bench.
No, perfect. Young Afro, thanks so much for this comment. Good job, guys. Enjoying your channel. Thank you heaps. Taron, let's talk about Thomas Tuchel. We're third in the Premier League. Leicester lost. Leicester had a madness against Newcastle. Wow, Newcastle absolutely opened them up. I'm not worried. Actually, since Tuchel's taken over, I'm not worried about anyone. I'm really can't wait to play Leicester because they taught us a lesson the last time we played them. I really need to. Two teams, Arsenal, we need to beat them, and Leicester, 100% we need to beat them. Third in the Premier League. I believe West Ham still has to play. Let me just have a quick look at this. West Ham, I think, are playing Everton, which, Everton's in a bit of a bad form, so I don't really know what's going to happen there. Liverpool's playing right now, and it's still 0-0. And looking at the table just quickly, we are third, 64 points. We've lived from Leicester. And Leicester, I think you commented yesterday, they've got some pretty big fixtures coming up for the last three games. So
they have Man United away
against us.
Yeah, and Chelsea
and us as well. Yeah, so they could be in massive trouble. Our fixture is Arsenal next, and I'm pretty hopeful. Well, we should be winning that. Well, how are you feeling, man? Talk about the whole situation. It's a happy mood at the moment. Thomas Tuchel can't seem to do anything wrong.
This guy is just a saint at the minute, isn't he? He's come in mid-season. I know we always say the same thing. He's come in mid-season, but we've just beat Man City, the champions-elect, away from home with a completely rotated squad, 1 day less rest. I seriously don't know what this guy can do wrong, honestly. I was expecting a big impact from Tuchel when he came in, but nowhere near a Champions League final, an FA Cup final, third place with, 3 games to go? I think it's absolutely incredible what Thomas Tuchel's doing. It's just about next season. You could say, yes, plain sailing. He's going to have more time pre-season, more time with the players. It should be, upward trajectory, just a linear upwards positive impact. But it could be difficult next season. If we do make signings, it could impact the balance of the squad. You don't know. Maybe the Euros could have an impact. Hopefully next season there could be more consistency, more clinical finishing in the attack. And I think this Thomas Tuchel side could definitely be up there challenging next season for the title. I don't see what's stopping us. This is one of the best Man City sides that I've seen in years. Honestly, they're balanced between defense and attack. Ruben Diaz, they're so clinical up front. And we've just dominated them in the second half in this game. The previous game, what did they have? 1 shot on target. And we beat Real Madrid as well. European powerhouses. What are they? They've won 3 Champions League in the last 6-7 years. Do you know
Amazing.
what? Tuchel, the teams he's beat, there's all these quotes on Was It Squawka Football, these other ones. To be Ancelotti, Klopp, Guardiola twice, Zidane. You know, he's been all these top managers now. And now I feel like it's just Bayern Munich he needs to beat. And then I'd say Thomas Tuchel is like up there. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about Tuchel, because every week we kind of say the same things after the game. We say, you know, he's done amazing stuff for us. But, you know, he's got us all feeling like amazing. Like after the games, we're jumping off the seats, we're laughing, we're joking. Marcos Alonso, a last-minute goal. Who would have thought it? It's just got the fan base in such a good place at the minute. I'm so happy. You know,
you feel like there's always going to be a magic with Thomas Tuchel, isn't it? Like there's always a magic just up his sleeve.
This guy's the Dumbledore of Chelsea. He literally has the magic wand up front. He's casting the Spelliarmus and all that, you know. Whatever he does, every touches it turns to gold, man. Like this guy.
And you've got Mason, the half-turn prince as well, so helping him out. So
instead of the half-blood prince, we've got the half-turn prince. I love to see it. But yeah, that's just Thomas Tuchel, man. Honestly, what do we say with Jonathan? Just sit back, relax, just chill. Thomas Tuchel, defensively solid. You know, what am I going to do? Is my lighting going to be messed up? Sit back, relax. You know, his trophy's back. Where's his trophy? There, I can't even point to it. It's there as well. But you know, it's just. I just feel so happy at the minute. Honestly, as a Chelsea fan, you know, it was so difficult in the Lampard times. A previous player, you know, losing games, looks real unhappy on the silence. He's come in mid-season, assured us all, calmed us all down in his interviews. First thing he said was, "Yes, it's difficult. Your ex-player has just been sacked, but I've come in and I'm going to do a good job." And he stuck to his word. Right now, he looks like the messiah of Chelsea Football Club. I just hope it's not. I know he's a complete different manager to Di Matteo. I just hope it's not. He comes in next season, you know, it all gets a bit to our heads and it goes a bit, you know, wayward. So I just hope next season it can be as good as it is this season, because it seems like the pinnacle right now, doesn't it? Like it seems like the pinnacle of Chelsea at the minute. We're playing amazing football. This is what we wanted to see. You know, we've had previous managers in the past defensively solid. Now we have a manager who plays possession football, who's also defensively solid. And it's just that, you know, the finishing. And then, you know, I've already said enough about Tuchel, but yeah, just sit back, relax, and watch Tuchel masterclass week in, week out.
100%, man. Look, I personally think the kind of words that Thomas Tuchel is saying, you know, whether it be interviews or post-match, pre-match, press conference, he's actually saying that we've got a lot more. We just got started. Do you know what I mean? Like we kind of know what to expect in the games now because we've created a big standard, but we're going to go, because he talks about the consistency. And I want to talk to RJ about this. First of all, shout out to Surajit. It's a great time to be a Blue. Hopefully we win the double and it'll be dream season. 100% agreed. But RJ, he said this in the pre-match conference that, you know, Bayern Munich and Man City are the leaders at the moment in terms of setting the benchmark in Europe. And he was saying that it's the consistency, the 3 to 4 years of consistency that Manchester City has shown, where they've been winning and winning and winning. He's laid down the gauntlet and he's pretty much saying, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to surpass. We need to be 3 to 4 years and more consistently winning. And I love that about Thomas Tuchel. All he's ever thinking about is winning and getting better and better, because no point in doing what Liverpool did, for example. You know, no disrespect to Liverpool. They won the Champions League, they won the Premier League, and this season, complete bust where they look like they're probably going to miss out on everything, right? No point in having this up and down merry-go-round, which we were kind of having as well. We need to have where every season there's some sort of silverware and we're always in the Champions League and then pushing for the title and also pushing for the Champions League semi-finals and finals. So do you feel like this is like Thomas Tuchel completely understands that?
Yeah, I think the thing is the two words are sustainable success, because I think the way that like Chelsea are that sort of up and down in recent years, like when we first took over, we were consistently at this high level and, you know, along with Man United dominating the league for several years. But then the chaos started well and truly happening. And then we had moments where we'd win the Premier League, finish 10th. Win the FA Cup, finish 5th. You know what I mean? So you had all these different topsy-turvy sort of results. But now I definitely 100% agree. Thomas Tuchel understands the need to have that relentless consistency at the highest levels. And that's why he referred to those benchmark teams, because they've been there, done out, week in, week out, trophy in, trophy out sort of setup. For us, I'm really happy with the way he's come in and harmonized the group and did it in such a respectful way and really gotten everybody on side to quickly focus on getting the right outcome. Like you said, this is a professional business with an outcome of winning. And more often than not, he's brought the right outcome for our team in such a short space of time. But I think what I'm guarded against is being overcommitted, because we've seen managers that have done this incredible sort of stuff with us. And then it's just, even though we've had a good sample size, I think the proof's in the pudding. As fingers crossed and touch wood, we win the double, or at least one of the two, which obviously we know what our preference is. But it's really what we do from next season, because I'm trying to not think too far ahead, but I'm just trying to enjoy the moment. I just want to enjoy the moment. I want the players to establish this winning culture. I don't think it's good enough, like he said. Chelsea's not about celebrating the achievement of getting into finals. It's about achievement of winning trophies. And that's such a simple statement, but so important, because some clubs will think, yes, we made it, that's great. But if we're trying to be the best, we've got to actually win. And it's simple as that.
We sacked Ancelotti when he came second and he couldn't deliver us the Champions League. Like that's how ruthless we are.
Conte,
that's right.
As well.
Exactly. Yeah. And look, some might say that's a bit ruthless. I have nothing wrong with ruthless if the end outcome is winning, because we're not sort of renowned for a club that sort of promotes itself on its loyalty. We promote ourselves on being the best and being successful. So as long as we continue to hold the same standards, then I have nothing wrong with that, because that's the expectation I have as a fan now. And Tuchel fully understands those expectations. So that's what I love about him. He doesn't shy away from it. He doesn't say, as long as we play good and we're improving, no, day zero, we're here to win and we're here to chase down Man City next season. Yeah. And I love that. He's honest, he's accountable, and long may his good form continue.
Yeah, 100% agreed. He's saying the right words and he's delivering as well. And you're right. You know, we still need to be level-headed and we still need to be calm, and but live the moment, 100%. Shane, what's your thoughts about Thomas Tuchel? How are you feeling right now? Obviously, third in the Premier League, and then we've got the FA Cup final to look forward to, and the Champions League. Well, what's your feeling about Thomas Tuchel at the moment? Oh no, Shane's having problems.
It's just a roller coaster thinking back where we were even at this time last year, right? Coming back into. Am I good now? Okay, sorry about that. Okay. I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi is very bad. But what I was getting into is Thomas Tuchel and the consistency of these players with the depth of the squad. And I think that's why City have been so successful this season, is because they've used their depth wisely. I think we could see something like this next year as well, because if we're playing every 4 days in the Premier League, you're going to need a squad who can you plug and play players, but you can still get the result. Tuchel out Guardiola. He beat another top manager at the end. And I think I talked about this with Yumis before, is bouncing back from adversity. I feel like after that first goal, there was so much going around for Chelsea at the end of that first half, but they bounced back from the adversity and they put another game plan in for the second half, and they fought to the very end. And that's why this team is so lovable right now, because they will fight for each other. They play for each other. Every single person on that pitch has something to play for, because they know at any given moment they can get benched, because that's how talented our squad is. So I think the depth of this team is really going to be a key talking point for us going and try to win that title next season.
No, for sure, man. Look, as Taron said, after every match, we're always praising Thomas Tuchel. We're slowly running out of words as to what more can we add, because this guy's just phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much wraps us up with the review. Fantastic victory. What a comeback. I think Shane has summed it up nicely at the end, where the resilience, we were behind, but we came back and really showcased a good game in the second half to win that game. And we definitely deserved it in the second half. Our performance in the second half definitely deserved that win. And now we're third in the Premier League. We've got Arsenal to look forward to. I need them to be slapped, absolutely, because I can't forget that embarrassing defeat. Honestly, I cannot forget that embarrassing defeat. Ladies and gentlemen, please smash the like button before you leave. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. Hit the bell notification to keep in touch with all my content, because there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out. Tomorrow I will have Kishan and Amir back. I think the crowd is really enjoying this combination where we cover the Chelsea news. So Chelsea news show will be back tomorrow with Kishan and Amir, and it may become a weekly thing. We're trying to organize a nice layout and intro and all of that. The boys are very keen to do that. And and then we move forward to the Arsenal game, and I might call over RJ's friend Scott, and then obviously Kishan's mate as well, who's an Arsenal fan. So we could have an amazing preview leading up to that game. Just quickly, just before I go as well, first of all, the panelists, please support them. All their socials in the description. Go out there and support them. Twitter, podcast, all of that. It's there. I just want to quickly let you guys know the Arsenal game, 100% I'm going to be doing previews, and there's going to be many shows before that as well. But unfortunately, I won't be able to do the review because Eid is on that day for me, and I won't be there available for the review. So that's just a shout out for that. I may do a review maybe the next day with the boys and talk about the game again. So something that probably won't happen straight after the game because I'll be going and praying for Eid, and it's a day for celebration after the month of Ramadan. So I'd rather spend that with the family as opposed to talking football on that day. So that's just a bit of a news on that. But ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much wraps us up. Until next time, everyone, take care. See ya.